Hello, hello everybody. Well, I am back from a long vacation and I am excited to be here today with you. Hello, hello. Yeah, I had a very long vacation, so it's been a long time since I've had a Watch Me Wednesday. So it's great to see you all here. Today's going to be kind of a fun one, so if you wouldn't mind sharing the video, that would be awesome. And I wanted to thank you all for all the new subscribers that I have to YouTube and for all the likes and comments. They've been fantastic. I do go back and read them and respond to all of them, and I appreciate you giving me a thumbs up on the video and commenting. That helps me get the views out to more people so that they can take advantage of all the tips and techniques that I'm offering. So today, let's see who's here. Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Linda. And hi, Sue. Good to see you all here. I have a really fun little show for you today. I'm going to be talking about the quilt behind me and what this quilt means to me and how to kind of update like an old pattern. I'm going to give you some tips and techniques. I'm going to show you a little applique, and we're going to talk about a few new things in the shop too, which I know that a lot of you are probably excited about. So let's get started. Hit that share button, share the video with your friends, and tell them that we are live. So today, let me go on and show you here. Today, we are going to be talking about this pattern, the quilt behind me, Fresh Palette. So this pattern, I wrote actually years ago. I did it initially for a magazine. It was featured in Quilt magazine, and it was meant to be a very simple quilt pattern that you can make in a weekend. Or in a day, and I've actually been flying through it, but it's a play on light and dark, super simple, really simple applique, and it's not that big. It's 43 by 43 when it's finished up. So it made a perfect quilt for me to go ahead and kind of redo, update, refresh into a modern kind of quilt. So when my new fabric collection In Motion came into my shop, I said, let's do it. This is like one of the perfect ones. I paired it up with my Opposites Attract fabric, and it's turning out for me very delightful. I love the way it's looking, so I hope you do too. It gives it definitely, I used, as you can see on the quilt behind me and in the, let me just zoom in here a little bit so you can kind of see. Not on me. I want to zoom in. Hang on a second. I want to zoom in on this guy so you can kind of see the Australian fabrics. So I used Australian fabrics in this, and I love Australian fabrics, but it is a totally different look than what I'm going to show you. So I've been working on that actually this week since I got home from my vacation. So for those of you who are wondering, I was away. My husband and I went with some friends of ours. We went to Europe. We were there for 3 weeks, and we were hiking the Tour de Mont Blanc. We hiked 106 miles around Mont Blanc, 3 countries, France, Switzerland, and Italy, and about 31,000 feet in elevation gain all over 11 days on foot. It was quite an experience and something that I will remember for the rest of my life. So that's what I was doing. And then we got home. We were home for a few days. We went to Colorado and we hiked 2 14ers there. We hiked Gray's Peak and Torrey's Peak. So I've gotten my fill of hiking in for the last month, and I'm home. And I just can't wait to share all this with you. So what I did, so one of the things that I did to refresh this pattern a little bit, so let me put the pattern back up here. So what I did to refresh this pattern a little bit is the first thing I did, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Quiltster, I'm going to put these side by side so you can kind of see them. I went into Quiltster. It's a program that is online, and some of my patterns are in there, and all of Judy Niemeyer's patterns are in there. So it basically is it's not a design program per se, because EQ is a design program, but Quiltster is more color your quilt program with whatever fabrics. And they have a multitude of fabric manufacturers in their database there that you can use. I mean, you name it, the fabrics out there. There are batiks, there's Tula Pinks, there's K Facets, there's My Fabrics, Island Batiks, etc. So what I did was I took my new fabrics, my in motion fabrics, and my opposites attract, and I gave it more of a modern look. So basically when I drop those fabrics in there, and then it'll spit out the yardage amounts that I need, which, by the way, matches up with the yardage amounts on the pattern, because that's how they do it in Quiltster. They take my pattern and they break it down so that it fits in here. Now, I will tell you the only thing that I changed in this pattern, just because I didn't want to use as many fabrics. So I'm going to come back to me here for a second, because I want to show you the quilt behind me. So this is the original quilt. And as you can see in the dark squares here, I used 4 different darks. And in the light, I used 4 different lights. I chose to use 2 different lights and 2 different darks. So that changes the yardage amounts. Well, not the yardage amounts, but let me explain to you. So let me go back to the screen. Let me just zoom in a little bit. And by the way, the pattern and the fabrics are available on my website. So, and I'll have the links for you in the end. So what I did, see how it says 3/8 of a yard each of 4 assorted lights? I just used 2 assorted lights. So basically that doubled the amount for the 2. So it's 6/8 of a yard, or whatever that calculates out to be. So that's 6/8 of a yard, however many. That's for one. So for one fabric, it would be 6/8 of a yard. So I only had 2 light prints, so it would be 6/8 of a yard for 2 light prints each. Okay, I hope you understand that. Then the additional light print was for the circle, so that doesn't change. And then the same yardage was for the dark prints, so it would be 6/8 of each of 2 assorted dark prints. And then the half yard was for the dark circle. And then the 3/4 of the yard of the dark purple is for the sashing that's in here, which is what I used. And then fusible web. So I'm going to show you one of the blocks now, so you kind of can see what I did here. Let me put this here. So the dark blocks, here's the dark. Oh no, I'm sorry, this was a practice for the applique. I always do a practice applique, so you'll see. So here's what I mean. Here's the dark block. So I used, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4 different darks, I only used 2. So 2 and 2. Okay, I hope that makes sense to y'all. So there was just the two different fabrics here instead of 4 different fabrics. And then this is the additional light. Same applies for the light block, which I also used 2 and 2. Now I could have used more, granted, if I wanted, but I chose to keep it a little simpler than that, only because that's the way I wanted my quilt to look. So it went a lot quicker, probably, but you can see the start of how it looks just a little more modern, if you will, or up to date than the original colorway, because the fabrics are a little more contemporary, if you will. Okay, so let me show you. So I if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to see probably within the next few days this quilt up on my design wall, because I will have it up there. But they go, you know, the light and the dark will go next to one another, just like in the pattern in the layout. So it'll go just like so. They alternate, kind of like a checkerboard. But on the original quilt, so let's go back just to this main screen here. Okay, on the original quilt, what I did is you can applique the circles on any way you want. And I'm going to show you today a little applique. It's just machine applique. I use, because I tell you in the pattern to use fusible web, this is the one that I used on the current quilt that I'm making. So it is, where's my cursor? There it is. It is Heat and Bond Light. That's what I used, and I found it very easy to use. If you have another fusible web you like to use or you prefer, by all means use what you want. But what I did on the original one, so this is going to be a raw edge applique. What I did on the original quilt is I took interfacing, and I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this technique, but I took interfacing and I did the pillowcase method because I wanted a turned edge. I didn't want a raw edge. So basically what you do is you put the circle and a circle of the fusible web, or the interfacing I should say, right sides together. So they'd go right sides together. You stitch around the outside in that 1/4 inch, and then you put a slit on the interfacing, turn it right side out, and then, you know, get all those, the edge nice and sharp so that it's turned under. And then the sticky bumps from the interfacing will be on that underside, and then you just press it down to the background, so to the 4 patch right here, and you press it down, and then you have a turned edge. So, and then all I did was just did a top stitch. You can do a decorative stitch if you want, but I was trying to keep it simple. So I'm going to show you what I did here. Let's go back to the overhead view. So on this one, this is, these are raw edge. So what I did in the pattern, I provide for you the template, so you're going to get a circle out of that. And basically what I did was you could take a piece of freezer paper, or you can take just a piece of paper. In this case, I had a piece of paper laying around, so I just used that, and you fold it into quarters, just like in the picture here, and you're going to create your template. Okay, you're going to create that template. And what I did was I put repositionable glue on the back, because it actually sticks down to your fabric, and you can reposition it. But what I did at that point was I took my fusible web and I had it laid out, and then I just laid it on there, and I just took, you can see I have pen marks, and I just drew a circle around that. If you happen to have like Creative Grids, they have I should have brought it over here. I have circles that you can just lay down circle templates. So this is a 6-inch circle. That's what you'll need. So if you happen to have that, you can certainly use it. I didn't. I just used this as my marker, traced around it, and then I cut it out. I cut all my, actually no, sorry, I skipped a step. Let's go back. So I had traced those around the Heat and Bond, and then what I did was I ironed the Heat and Bond on top of either my white or on my black fabric, whichever one I was working with at the time. And then I cut them out. I cut the circles out. Once it was ironed on them, I cut the circles out. Once they were cut out, then I laid it on top of my patch, and I'm doing a decorative stitch. Really simple and easy quilt to make. It's a great baby quilt. It's a great weekend quilt. It's a great picnic style quilt. What I want to show you next is the machine applique. Now, what I do, so as I was showing you before, I brought this down here. So this is just a practice block. I like to do a practice applique just to make sure that I have the stitch that I want and the width that I want, the length that I want, etc. on the stitch. So this is just one plain background and then one of the circles ironed onto it so that I could go ahead and do my applique. Now the nice thing about machine applique is it's quick, but you also, I like a choice of threads too. So I was choosing between these four and the one I have in my machine, which is actually a turquoise, which is the one I'm going to demo on. So these are all, the orange ones are, these are all Aurifil, but the orange ones are 50 weight and the green one is 40 weight. So I chose, I'm using a 50 weight thread. So you can practice and use whatever weight thread you want to use because you're the one who's going to see this. Now this quilt, when I quilt it, it's going to go on the long arm and it's going to get an overall design. So the machine has to pass over top of this. So I didn't want like any lip there that the machine can get caught on. So I chose a blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch to do on this. And that's what I want to show you now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you at the machine. So let me grab here. This is one of the ones that I haven't done yet. I've done all the black circles. Actually, I did all but one. I don't know why. I chose for the black, I chose this color. And for the white background, I chose the turquoise color. So let's switch to this view so you can kind of see what I'm going to do. So what I like to do too is, like I said, I like to do a practice block. So this was my practice block. Oh, no, what did I just do with it? I think I laid it here. Here it is. This is my practice block. So there's my practice block. But I also like to write down, let's see if I can get it in front of there. It's going to be blurry. Dang, sorry. There it is. So I also like to write down, so if I have to leave my machine and turn it off, I also like to write down the stitch length or the stitch name and number. On my machine, it's stitch B6. And then the width, the length, and any other information that you need to know about it so that you can get it exactly right when you come back to it, because you want all your blocks to be the same. Now, unless you don't want them to be the same, that's okay. But I like to write it down so I know that when I go back, turn that machine on, I know exactly where to go to get my stitch the way I want it. So let me show you with this blank one. So this one, so I'm using a Viking, and most Vikings are the same. So if you wanted, you could use the same stitch that I did. I have an A-foot. I have actually using a Microtex needle in. And what I like to do when I'm doing the stitching, I get very used to the rhythm of the machine, and I'm keeping my eye typically on the needle when I'm doing it. So let me show you what I do. I won't do the whole thing because it would take me a little longer, and I'm sure you don't want to hang around that long. But I just watch that needle, and I'm riding that needle right alongside the edge of that black circle to create that blanket stitch. So it's not on, oh, and I like the needle down. It's not on the circle, and it's not, it's just on the like kind of in the ditch, if you will. If your needle happens to pop off and up onto that circle, don't worry, just get get it back in line, a stitch or two, nobody's going to notice. Not a big deal. And then you just keep going. I can get going, and I can get going pretty fast with these and finish them up, which I probably will do later. I only have probably about 5 more of these to do. But it's a fun little thing. And experiment with some other stitches too, because they are super fun. So this is what my blanket stitch looks like. Let's see if you can. That's on the black with that fuchsia color, and then on the white background with the turquoise color. But you can see, hopefully you can see good enough, that the stitches, the little one goes right in, but the rest of the stitch kind of rides along that edge. So it's nice and neat and fun to do. So then I want to show you real quick what I am deciding to use for the rest of the quilt. So these are my fabrics, in motion fabrics. These are on my website. This is what I'm going to use for the binding. Isn't that fun? I thought that nice stripe would be kind of fun for the binding on this quilt. And then this is the sashing. This is from my Opposites Attract collection. So if you look, here is the rendering again. The sashing's in here. So this stripe is going to be the sashing. And then this will be my backing. Isn't that fun? So that's going to be what's left of the quilt. So once I get all the blocks done, it's going to go up on my wall. I'll put the sashing in, then I'll start joining the rows together. So I cannot wait to get this done. But I want to show you all a sneak peek of, well, it's not really a sneak peek anymore because the fabrics are available. Hang on one second, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And so the fat quarter bundles are up and available again on my site. They've been selling out like crazy. So I wanted to kind of show you the different fabrics in line. You can get yardage if you like yardage, or you could just get fat quarter bundles, which is fine. So these are some fun prints, and you can see why it's called In Motion, because everything seems to be just a bunch of energy, right? And they're bright, bold colors like I like, and I love to use them in all kinds of projects. If you like stripes and dots and spots, this is the collection. This just needs to be pressed, but that's in the green and the white. I have lots of whites and blacks and greens in this collection. Fun, aren't they fun? This is a diagonal print. There's a couple diagonal prints, this would also make a nice binding, by the way, because it's already on the diagonal, so you don't have to cut it on the bias. Just fun. And here's these are the 3 stripes. So the 3 different colorways of the stripes. This one in the black background is actually almost gone. Not much of that left. That's been popular. People ordered a lot of yardage of that one. But I still have a lot of each of these left. But some of them are definitely more popular than others. Give me a thumbs up if you like the collection. I'd love to see what you guys all think. So that's another favorite. But these last few are real big favorites. This black one is a favorite. Really neat fabrics. So here's the white and this white. And I want to show you, it's always a thrill to me. I think, maybe let me see if I can find it on this one. Nope, not on that one. Maybe it's on the bottom one. I want to show you, it's always a thrill to me to see this on a selvage edge. Ah, there it is. There it is. So, nope, let's do it this way so you can see. So, In Motion, Canton Village Quiltworks, Jackie Kunkel, Studio B, Island Batik. It's always a thrill for me to see that on a selvage. And you'll see that on my Opposites Attract and Color Splash fabric too, which are also in the shop. So that's my newest collection. And that was what I just showed you is a fat quarter bundle. So that's fun. Then I also want to show you two more things that are new and in the shop. These are in stock, and hopefully the yardage will be coming soon. I'm hoping. But I have pre-cuts of my honeycomb batik collection. So these are available right now. So it's these are more kind of a sneak peek right now for you because I don't have the yardage yet in stock. And I'm actually not sure when the yardage will be here. Should have been here already, but because they're still having problems in the ports offloading everything, that delays a lot of things. So, but if you want some of this collection, you can get it in the pre-cuts right now. So they are available, and I'll have the links in the description for you then too. So let me come back here. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'm going to go back and just see. Oh, Betsy's here. Hey, Betsy. And Connie from Gold Canyon. Hey, Connie. Patty is here. Nice to see you all. Let's see. Patty says she loves the black and white fabrics. Me too. It's like one of my favorite things. That's why I wrote my book, Splash of Color, a rainbow of black and white quilts. I just love using color with black and white. It makes that color pop. And that's why I'm redoing this into that version that I'm doing. And just watch me either on Instagram or on Facebook for pics of that coming up soon. Betsy says, I use the method a lot. The turn, oh yeah, with the interfacing, so you turn it like a pillowcase. Perfect. I think it's fun. And it's actually, instead of doing like a traditional needle turn, you can do that, and then your piece is already down, and then you can just whip stitch it into place if you want to do that and not do a top stitch. So those are some little tips you can do. So if you've enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up and put a comment down in the video. Share the video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to me here on YouTube. I would appreciate that. Any comments and thumbs up we get helps to get that video out to more quilters who want to learn things from me and from other quilters. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you subscribing and clicking that little bell to get your notifications. I appreciate every single one of you for joining me on a live today. And I promise not to be gone as long. Next time it's just summer and we're just doing some traveling. So I hope you guys are all having a fantastic summer as well and getting some quilting done too. Anyway, take care everybody, and I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your week. Thanks. Bye-bye.